Subscribe to the Hit That Line Podcast Network, brought to you by Breeden RV Center. Breeden RV Center, family owned and operated, a no pressure, laid back atmosphere, and always home of the free maintenance for life.
This is the Fish City Grill Ruskin and Zach podcast.
Ruskin and Zach.
All right, and thus begins the entertaining portion of your broadcast day. Ruskin and Zach, ESPN Arkansas. It's streaming on hitthatline.com. Had to listen for the last hour about you upset with Hunter Yurachek about something.
I'm not upset.
What's going on?
I'm not
here?
upset.
What's going on?
I'm just
here?
Sometimes you need to be careful picking Twitter fights.
No.
Hunter took to Twitter today.
So the background on all this is that and I'll let you describe your part. But the background is today, in Washington, or as we call it around here in Washington, they are having hearings on the college name, image, and likeness thing, and you can go from there.
No, he was admonishing Jay Billis, who makes I didn't read the whole thing on Billis's compensation package, but he makes like $2 million a year from ESPN. And Hunter took to Twitter today, basically saying that I guess Billis taking a stand against paying athletes or something along those lines, and Hunter took him to task.
No, that's not. Billis has hated the NCAA for the reason Billis got thrown off of March Madness is because of his anti-NCAA stances here. So this seems like a giant misunderstanding. And first of all, the other thing I would say is ESPN pays for a lot of the stuff that Arkansas has.
Yeah, need to be careful there.
So Hunter, you want to be paid, don't you? So you got to tread carefully when ripping high-end talent at the worldwide leader, because they're paying for that football stadium you're in right now, and other things on campus that salaries for coaches, things like that. I mean, you didn't get a $160 million budget by I Dream by Barbara Eden in your hands. It's television that's paid for everything. So that's why we have to take 44 breaks during football games, because of television. So you got to be careful to bite the hand that feeds you here. So in a lot of ways. So
Billis basically said that there's like you mentioned, the hearings are out there, and Billis tweeted out that Emmert didn't ask for limits on what coaches and administrators can make, nor did he ask for guardrails on the NCAA in selling athletes for billions. Okay,
right.
So then Yurachek came back and he fired back. He said he did not recommend. He also did not recommend limits on salaries of men's college basketball, television analysts, blah 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 blah.
Right. Are we still ripping people's salaries? Is that still a thing?
You know what?
You know why Jay Billis makes $2 million? Because someone paid him $2 million.
He's good at what he does. He's really good at what he does. I mean, never be upset with what somebody gets.
Is Hunter going to decline his raise that he's due to get here very soon because of what he's done with Musselman and other parts of the athletic department?
Now here's
because I think that's a little bit hypocritical for him to take a raise, don't you?
Yeah.
You got you see all the corners you're painted in here with this foolish argument that he's made.
It is. It was just. It's if you live in a glass house, you shouldn't throw stones. I mean,
and of course, all the barking seals are defending Hunter Yurachek today on the text
Without
machine.
Question.
Of course they are. Mindless drones out there. It's amazing.
And look, Hunter's compensated pretty well, and he's making money under the same salary that Billis is. Now here's the difference: is Billis is an entertainer.
No.
Whatever ESPN chooses to use him for and how they choose to use him, is anybody worth $2 million a year?
Here's another thing I don't understand is like they're both on the same side of this, okay? Like if we got Hunter over some vodka waters over there at the Blessings, he'd tell us how much the NCAA sucks, okay? Jay Billis also, without the vodka waters, on television, every big Monday tells you how much the NCAA sucks. So they're both on the same side. Is the other thing I don't understand about picking this fight.
In Austin,
both of you think Mark Emmert is terrible at his job, and the NCAA is an outdated, useless enterprise, which it is.
Austin just texted us in, and this was the point I was going to get to. He said, "I think the point is Billis profits off college athletes. So does Hunter Yurachek."
No,
yes.
Billis doesn't profit off college athletes. Billis profits off of. ESPN pays for all this stuff that you get.
In a roundabout
and
way.
They've got to have someone to call the games.
In a roundabout way, yes, he does. I mean, we're all there. Even we do to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Well,
if you want to call this profiting.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're deficiting.
Living in government housing.
But it's just, you got to be careful because, you're both making money off the same entity.
That's what I'm saying. Like, this made no sense. Yeah, this snipe made no sense to me today by Hunter Yurachek.
No, it's like Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen arguing over the fact they won by 30. It's like, settle down, guys.
Right. Yes.
I don't know. I don't understand the point of the argument. It just seemed a little... I don't know. And there may be more. There may be a backstory to this. Billis and Hunter may have gotten into it at some point over something.
Well, maybe.
There may be a backstory to it. So it could be a personal deal. But careful. Whatever ESPN chooses to pay Jay Billis is ESPN's business.
I also want it to be noted that this is the first interesting thing Hunter Yurachek has ever tweeted. Ever. So that's also a very noteworthy moment in time. He finally tweeted something besides "good luck to such and such" or "congratulations to such and such." He's one of the worst follows on Twitter until today, and now you can't live without it. So there you go. So I guess that the Billis wants caps on coaches' salaries, but couldn't I argue that Saban's underpaid at $8 million a year?
You could also argue that Dan Mullen is overpaid.
How much does he generate? I mean, Alabama's endowment has probably gone up 20-fold in the 15 years he's been the head coach at Alabama. And he hasn't, I mean, considering it's probably hundreds of millions, he's only asking for like 8 a year.
Yeah.
That's pretty.
They do okay down there.
That's generous of him.
And that's the money that's on the books. That doesn't include the money that's off the books.
Yeah.
So, coaches, look, whatever the market bears, whatever somebody is willing to pay you, that's what you're worth.
Yeah.
If ESPN wants to pay Jay Billis $2 million a year, that's Jay Billis's right. Yeah. And I am certain, knowing the way that particular company works, games are not all he does for ESPN. He just doesn't helicopter in, do a game. I'm sure that he has some other responsibilities within that company. Now, Jay Billis is an attorney. He is a private attorney. Now, I don't know if he's practicing or not. But I'm certain that he is. He's gazed at a few documents. I'm sure maybe he's consulted on a few things. I know guys that work there. I know time that they put in. If ESPN decides, is Stephen A. Smith worth $8 million a year?
Probably
because
it's a business. This whole thing is a business, and when you're in the business of athletics, it's hard to throw rocks at other people also in the business of athletics. Hacker says we're missing the point. No, there is no point. That's what everyone else is missing. There's no point here. It's a needless, useless swipe.
They're on the same side of the argument.
And they both hate the NCAA. Yeah, they're on the same side.
Yurachek going after Billis for making $2 million off of college athletics. Well, Hunter makes close to $1 million off of college athletics.
Then he better not take a pay raise when the board offers it to him. Or who's the hypocrite then, huh? See the problem here?
No.
See the problem? Now, this is why Zach and I do the show for free. It's because we don't want to profit off of college athletes.
Scott and Salem brings up a good point. Hunter standing up for coaches, you never know when that might come in handy. Yeah. Okay, I mean, if you're posturing, that's fine.
But was Jay Billis really ripping coaches, though? That's the other thing. I mean, was that what was his initial point? Is what I'm. It's just this is a dumb controversy as far as I'm concerned. But I applaud the athletic director at Arkansas for finally tweeting something interesting for the first time in 3 years. So that's good.
All right, give us something to do for you. Burn the segment.
That's right. Yeah. Right. Other than good luck or congrats too. That's all there is there, man. It's so boring. But I guess at the end of the day, you want your athletic director to be a boring follow on Twitter because he's not causing problems.
That's true.
But maybe, not that he's causing problems now, but, ESPN pays for everything over there, more or less. So you better be careful when you start ripping into the worldwide leader in sports.
Now,
just a thought.
Now, if we could do hard stop here, somebody pay Hunter Yurachek because he's done an A+ job. Pay that guy.
No, you can't now, or you can't profit off it.
Pay the man. Pay him whatever he wants.
Yeah.
Just a boy from the 804.
That's okay. There you go.
It's my dude, man.
All right, it is Ruskin and Zach, 866-285-4005 is the phone number. This whole, I'm just sick of this whole name image conversation. Not that I don't want it to happen, but I'm just ready for the talking to end and just tell us what it is. Like, enough of this. Well, it might be, and it could be, and it might be. Just do it already.
But you know as well as I do, the NCAA doesn't know what it is yet. No one knows.
Yeah.
I saw a thing today. Georgia's quarterback is among the first to get a clothing endorsement deal.
Nice. With what? Like
it's a local company there. In
How
Athens.
much? Do we know?
Didn't say.
See, that's the other thing. Is are they going to release, or that's another thing?
I got another thought on this.
Okay.
They're pitchmen. What if the pitch doesn't work? What if college athletes can't sell the product?
Nobody's ever considered that.
That's why I'm here.
That's right.
I'm here to look at the negative stuff. What if they can't sell? I mean, what if you invest a couple $100,000 in somebody and your product doesn't move?
Here are this month's specials at Fish City Grill. Cod Lobster Oscar for $19.99. Herb-crusted cod fillet topped with lobster claw meat and hollandaise sauce with asparagus and herb-roasted potatoes. Or try the barbecue salmon tacos for $13.99. Grilled Atlantic salmon with chipotle barbecue, crispy onion strings, chipotle slaw, and a side of made-from-scratch Dijon mustard potato salad. And as always, remember there's live music and now a shrimp boil on the patio every Tuesday night, only at Fish City Grill.
There are so many sports to bet on right now, but there's only one place to do it, Bet Online. The month of June has so much action, including basketball and hockey playoffs, baseball's marquee matchups, any prop bet you can think of, plus tons of college football and NFL futures. They have the latest odds at Bet Online, plus all the news and information you need for your sports betting. Visit betonline.ag today or use your mobile device to join and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. So before your next tip-off, face-off, or pitch, head over to BetOnline and start playing today. BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts.
We have returned. Truscott and Zach, and visiting with Dudley Dawson, Hogs Illustrated and WholeHogSports.com. Dudley, good afternoon.
How you guys doing?
Better than the Cardinals.
Oh, see.
Right off the top
That's
rope.
fine.
Bam!
Oh.
That's fine. Really looking forward to Notre Dame's championship season next year as well. So,
All right.
See,
It's Dudley 1, Zach nothing.
He
Okay.
punches
All right.
back.
Yeah,
I like it.
He punched right back.
punches back. That's
All right.
fantastic. I mean, there's any number of places we could start, Dudley. I guess we can start with Razorback baseball and where they pulled this thing out on Monday night. Get to bring in NC State here, and it's just been it's the Kevin Kopp show. As he goes, it looks like that's how they're gonna go.
yeah, and it continues to just go and go and go. I never thought they'd take him out. Even if his arm fell off, that it looked like they were going to ride it. And I know they said, we asked him how he's feeling. Well, he's always feeling good if you're a pitcher, So
Yeah.
But it's been an incredible year. I'm not breaking any scoops there. So.
You've seen a ton here in the last 40 years, and I think sometimes we get prisoner of the moment. Welch hits the ball, we're like, this is the greatest moment in Arkansas sports history. Put it into perspective, not just the Welch moment, but what we're seeing from this team. Where does this? I mean, it's obviously not 94 basketball, but it's got to be up there somewhere.
Yeah, it's really close. I mean, McFadden in football, the 94 team in basketball. Obviously we have to give credence to Coach McDonald and his championships and all that. But individually, I mean, this has just been an incredible thing. And I've seen a lot of guys get wins as a starter. I've seen a lot of guys get a lot of saves as a closer. But I've never seen a guy with a combination like this. You can point back to Andrew Miller when he was pitching for Cleveland and coming in those middle innings. But even he didn't do this, the amount of length that he's been able to come in and just stretch it out in games. I was in the grocery store today, and I looked awfully hard at beet juice. Decided not to do it, but, it's starting to be something I might think about now.
It has magical powers, apparently. I mean, that's what it is. Another big thing going on right now, while this is front and center, because people get to watch the games and everything, but more behind the scenes is what is happening with recruiting opening up, with visits happening, and all these sorts of things, and just kind of where how are things going now that they can actually bring people in and show them around for the first time in over a year?
Well, I think really well. They've got a couple of unofficial visitors on campus today, and Nico Davalier, a defensive tackle from Maumelle, and Quincy McAdoo, the wide receiver from Clarendon, who was previously committed to Florida State, and Mike Norvell, and then decided to come up here. So both those guys are visiting this weekend. They had visiting today. They had 7 guys in here last weekend, and we'll have 2 more in this weekend. A lot of big offensive linemen, some skill guys as well. But it's clear that Coach Pittman is following through on his philosophy to get bigger on both sides of the ball and, get tougher and all that. So, it's kind of how they're looking at it, and they're running all these basketball, official visitors and transfer portal guys and all that through here. And then I just got done. I was able to mark something off my bucket list that I didn't know was on it. I just got through writing a story about a Arkansas baseball pitcher from Seoul, South Korea. And he was kind enough to text me the answers instead of me calling him, because he said he thought it might be a little bit of a phone bill problem for me if I called him and stayed on the line in Seoul, South Korea. So.
I want to ask you a little bit about football recruiting in particular. The state this year seems to be very deep as far as the talent pool goes. Arkansas's got 4 of the top 6 in-state players. Who's their top in-state target? Because they are shuffling offers out to in-state guys left and right.
Yeah, and I'm really happy about the one they gave out yesterday to Jalen White, who's a hybrid linebacker safety from Little Rock Parkview. He was number 8 in my rankings in All Illustrated in terms of the players in the state this year. Has gotten a lot of Power 5 offers, but had not from Arkansas yet. And Arkansas just kind of wanted to get a look at him and see what they had, and so they're bringing him on now. But yeah, 12 players in state. That it may not be a record because I wasn't around back when Frank Boyles and them were able to bring swimmers in and count them as football players in and count them as swimmers. in terms of the scholarships and all that. But it's a great year in both basketball and football in the state in the high school ranks. And they, as you said, they've got 4 of the top 6. They feel really good about the rest of the guys that they're going to get. I think, they may end up with, I would say probably 10 of these 12, or 9 or 10 of these 12 kids coming to this school. And that's really big. When you have a basketball, football, baseball crop like this, if you want to be the head coach in Arkansas for a long time, you have to make hay during this year. And if you don't get all of them, you got to get the vast majority of them.
Dudley Dawson's our guest here on Ruskin and Zach. Has it crossed anyone's mind over there to maybe have the visitors make a lap through the hog pen this weekend? I mean, the NJIT had a good time out there.
Yeah, sure seemed to. I think that had one of the I know that a few of them made it to the baseball game because they had one of the kids talking about seeing all the people, at the game and all that. So I think they do that. But yeah, nobody has had more fun in the past week or so than New Jersey Institute of Technology players getting to just kind of cut loose. Probably why they didn't do as well on the Saturday afternoon game, or was it Sunday afternoon? They're all running together, but that was great for. It's interesting. Nebraska fans think Arkansas fans suck. New Jersey Institute of Technology fans think they are the greatest in the world.
Yeah. Well, there's not a lot of difference between the hog pen and Newark, where NJIT is from. They felt very comfortable out there.
Yeah, loved their names. The spell check was really ripping through that one. But love their names, and they just had a lot of fun, and I love the way that their administration and coaches and that just embraced it as well, just like Nebraska embraced being the villain.
Yes, they did. I think we should start calling the hog pen the state's largest honky tonk. I mean, it's just it's like any. We talked about it yesterday. It's like any old nightclub from the 90s in Fayetteville. Yeah, it's out there now.
What nightclub does the hog pen remind you of at 2 a.m.?
Brass Monkey back in the days. It may have been a little bit for you.
Where was that?
In the early 80s, yes.
Where was that?
So once, hey, listen to this. Once on a dance floor, the Brass Monkey, which used to be under the Mountain Inn.
Oh, yeah, okay.
On the dance floor at one time, Larry Michaud Akeem Olajuwon, Bill Clinton, Bill Walker, Alvin Robinson, and yours truly.
Whoa! Oh, wow! See, now
I was in charge of getting Walker and Robinson back to the dorm. So
see,
How'd that go?
it went really well, because I took one for the team. Let's put it that way.
if we're not doing a hog pot about this, what's the point of having the hog pot? I mean, this is what we want. These are the stories we want right here at the Brass Monkey back in the 80s.
Yeah.
That's what.
Every time Caden Monk comes in and starts playing, it
Makes you feel good.
Takes you back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Do you ever spend any time at the Dome?
Not much. I mean, I remember it, but I ran around with Ed Waterhead Jones, and we had our little watering holes, and that's what they were, was watering holes.
So, like we were talking about the Dome yesterday. The Dome was where you wound up. It was the place that was open the latest. And like Mike Neighbors has said, it was the last stop on your trick or treat tour on a Friday night, Saturday morning. It's just where everybody ended up.
Now we did have the precursor of Uber when we would leave Dixon Street and make it out to the bars in Springdale that would stay open at 5 a.m. But that's a rumor. I didn't actually do that myself.
You were out of Countryland, weren't you? Yeah, I've stumbled out of Countryland at dawn before.
Oh, wow. We're talking with Dudley Dawson here on Ruskin and Zach. What do we know about the latest edition, Trey Wade, over with Eric Musselman's team?
He's one of these guys, and I think you'll see him being one of the lead guys coming off the bench. I think they already had their guys that are going to run out there on the floor to be the starters. But he is a guy who is a senior, has a lot of experience, played the last 2 years, started 52, I think, of 56 games the last 2 years. His stats won't pop you over the head. I think, 8 points, 6 rebounds, something like that. But he's a complementary piece that of the likes that they had last year that I think will fit in well. And I think the coaches over there know what they're doing. And Trey Wade is very accepting of being a, for lack of a better word, glue guy that will come in here and win.
Oh, I hate that
Zach's
phrase. I
favorite phrase.
hate that phrase. I've completely lost interest in the sports talk. The Fuzzies or Hofbrau? Where were you landing?
Man.
Or Cafe Santa Fe. I'll throw that in there, too.
Both, yeah. I spent a lot of time at both places. One time, speaking of baseball, Arkansas was playing at George Cole. They split doubleheader, even though they didn't have those a lot. Me and a couple of guys went to the Hofbrau and tried every single beer they had up there on the top of the bar. Yeah. They didn't have to cover the second game.
Yeah, you didn't make the second game. You read about it tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's right.
Memories, man.
Yeah.
Memories.
No, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
I'm proud to know that you and I frequented Countryland, because that was not an easy place to get into or get out of.
True. There have been a few places I won't talk about, but that's one of them.
I saw Eddie Money at Countryland. Wow, Eddie Money. Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, that was a rough day.
Take me home tonight.
That's correct.
All right. Dudley, thank you so much for sharing all of this. We appreciate it.
Live from South Korea.
That's right. Yeah.
Does the college football playoff need to expand? They're talking about it. 63.2% of you said yes. I totally disagree.
All right.
I absolutely 1,000% disagree that the college football playoff needs to expand. The only reason you're doing it is for more money.
We're back for more cash.
As we've learned around here recently, content doesn't matter. Having competitive football games does not matter. What they want are extra games where you can put butts in the seats.
As we call it, more than that, butts in the seats. They want the avails.
Correct.
They want the inventory.
Butts in the seats, avails on television. They want a larger television contract. I put this together, and I did it in a very hurried fashion over the last, 7 years of the college football playoff. Bama's been to the playoff 6 times, Ohio State 6 times, Oklahoma and Clemson all 6 times. You're going to get the same people. But when we get to the second round of the playoffs, it's going to be the same 4 teams. Mm-hmm. No matter how you scramble this, it's going to come up it's going to come up the same way. Now, I took the top 8 teams from starting in 2014 when you had the first college football playoff. You know who would have had the most appearances? It's the Big Ten with 15. Mm-hmm. The SEC would have been second with 14, and then it kind of goes from there. The Big 12, 9, the ACC, 7, and the Pac-12, 5. But you're going to get the same people over and over again.
The thing, too, about all this, and they're going to expand it because television's going to demand, ESPN this has been a bad deal for ESPN, this playoff, because they're not making boatloads of cash on it because the games are terrible.
Games are awful.
So they're going to demand more and probably a very small increase on the rights, or the college football playoffs is going to go to Fox and say, "Hey, you want half of this?"
That's
the other. That's the other way that this may happen.
Go. Now,
Fox gets in the chat or something.
The college
like
football playoff has also had 2 very large problems with its construction, and that is Clemson and Alabama. They're the 2 best teams in the country, period.
Yeah,
and
they're monopolies, and there's no one to bust them up in college football.
I mean, you had
there's
the
upset. No salary cap. There's none of that.
You had the upset last year. Ohio State got Clemson. That 2020 is a weird year. This year, you're going to get the same 4 teams. I guarantee you will get 3 of these 4 teams. You'll get Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, and Oklahoma.
You know how you can fix this? They should pass a support staff salary cap from the NCAA, meaning because Alabama and Clemson at one point, and maybe this is still true, they lead college football in these off-field quote-unquote analysts. Mm-hmm. These former coaches. There's like 50 or 60 of them on each of their staff. Arkansas's got like 5, I think. So
why?
Could you limit that? And would that
why? Let them. Well, look, if they can afford it, let them do it.
Yes, but they have a competitive. If you want to listen. Socialism doesn't work anywhere except in sports. If you want a revolving group of teams year in and year out, you have to have some sort of max. That's why the NFL has different playoff teams almost every year, or baseball, or are they because there's some sort of cap that makes people, if you run it well, you revolve around. Hockey does this as well.
Tuke in Cocoa, Florida, pin him. Just said they're already putting a team or 2 in every year that doesn't belong in the college football playoff. It makes no sense to expand. I disagree with they don't belong, because the teams that have gotten there have earned the right. However, you have 2 monsters, Clemson and Alabama. LSU was the outlier the one year. Yeah. The games simply aren't competitive. My team played on January the 1st, and by the middle of the second quarter, I had turned it off because it just wasn't even interesting to me.
This has nothing to do with football. And this has everything to do with if we get a Fiesta Bowl that's UCF and LSU and it's a good game, it's about bringing that in under the umbrella of the college football playoff instead of just the Fiesta Bowl, so that there can be more money made on. That's what this is about.
It's about money.
It's like Tony Kornheiser's old book, I'm back for more cash. That's what this is all about. And they're going to get it either from ESPN or they're going to go to Fox, or maybe they even go to CBS. I don't know.
But they're not interested in competitive, compelling television.
They don't at all. They just want to be able to sell units.
Correct.
That's it.
And that's all that matters. And another round of games is more units sold.
Here is a text putting this on the table as greatest moment in Razorback history.
Throw out your hands, stick out your tush, give them a push. You'll be surprised you're doing a great mistake.
Voila. I don't know. I don't know.
You're not into that?
Nah, no. Mm-mm.
Yeah. I think another point of this, and again, it all goes back to television. You know, the thing Hunter Yurachek hates, television. It all goes back to that. And never mind that they've increased the budget 100% over there in the last 15 years, but never mind that. It all goes back to if you have more opening round games, if you will, it's a weekend where you can probably involve more parts of the country than the South in the television experience. Maybe you bring in a Washington, a Northeast audience, or a California audience.
Not necessarily. I mean, just based off the last 7 years, if you take a look at it, it's primarily SEC and Big Ten teams with a sprinkling of other teams mixed in.
Well, they would alter the way they select them for the opening round to make it a little more like the like the NCAA selection does, and involve because this is the problem. This is a regional. This college football is baseball. It's a regionalized local sport. Most of the country is not. I mean, it's more popular nationally than baseball, but it is a very regionalized sport. I don't think there's a lot of fans in Western Pennsylvania of anything but
Penn State,
yeah,
Ohio State,
yeah, you know what I mean. And if the Big Ten's not in it, then they're probably. And the other thing is, it's different up there, where like Penn State's not going to root for or watch Ohio State in the playoff. That's not going to happen.
Somebody just texted, well, it'll open a door for a team like Arkansas. Well, you'd think so, but again, if you go back to the numbers based on the last 7 years of the playoff, Bama, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Clemson are all getting in every year. Then it opens the door for teams like Georgia, Notre Dame, Wisconsin, and Michigan. Those are the next four in line.
Yeah.
We're not getting a ton of new blood here in the playoff. You're not getting you're not going to see Arkansas in there. You might see them in there once every 10 years. I mean, when was the last time they finished in the top 8?
This is like what you will do here is making the playoff a somewhat hollow accomplishment, because if you make it, well, there's a lot of teams that make it and you get housed by 40 in your first game. Well, you're not going to talk about that. You're just going to sell the fact, we made the playoff. And you're going to keep the college football playoff sticker on all your equipment cases for the next 10 years to show off on TV. Look, we made it to the playoff one time.
The backside of that is you got beat by Alabama 52-7.
Yeah. It's just this is all about the fact that the college football playoff people are exploring. I'm going to break this all down for you in the simplest terms, all right? And nobody will talk to you as bluntly and as honestly, but this is what it is. College football playoff is looking ahead to the renegotiation of the television contract. And ESPN is not thrilled, and they're not offering a great increase. So now the college football playoff is saying, well, how do we get that increase? We got to give them more games. There you go. That's why it is. It has nothing to do with finding a true champion or giving more teams a shot. It doesn't have anything to do with any of that. It's all about television commercials.
But think about when those games are played. The college football playoff. The one year they played them on New Year's Eve night. Nobody's watching those things.
They were going to change the paradigm of New Year's Eve,
right.
Zach. That's what they told us.
That doesn't work. Then you're playing. You're playing.
More people watch Ryan Seacrest.
You're playing games at like 2:00 in the afternoon on New Year's Day. No, these things are prime time events. If you put them, and I don't know what the television schedule would look like, but if you could put them back to back on a Sunday night when the NFL isn't in session, you might have something here. But
the other problem, or another problem with all of this, is that Rose Bowl will always be played on New Year's Day at 4, and the Sugar Bowl will always be played New Year's Day at 7:30 or 8 at night, and they don't move. So you have two parts of your equation that are non-cooperative with any of this. You know what I'm saying? Like, they are not cooperative. They are not good partners in being flexible with what you need. They're going to do it their way. No, we have the parade at 9 a.m. and then we're playing the game at 2:00. I mean, by God, that's the way it is.
Well, one of your marquee events, it doesn't want to be part of this, and
they're not good partners,
and they're not going to budge.
No,
they fought through the BCS. They fought through the playoff. This is what they do. Period.
See,
end of story.
Cotton, Fiesta, Peach, and
here's an idea.
Orange are flexible. You want to play us on January 2nd? Fine, we love it. Whatever.
And I'll say the quiet part out loud. If you want a true college football playoff, you got to get rid of the bowls. You've got to do it. You've got to run it like the FCS does.
Well, but here's the NCAA doesn't crown a division, an FBS national champion.
I know,
because of the bowls, and so everybody is. Where is Hunter Yurachek complaining about the bowl system? That's far worse than the profiteering there. These bowl representatives are con men. They're making $400,000 a year to wear an ugly blazer and go and watch football games.
They're putting on an exhibition.
They don't do anything.
But they're putting on an exhibition football game.
And they make a marginal contribution to a charity to make it all, look like it's on the up and up. But really, they're there to get rich. That's what this is about. The best job is being a bowl rep, because you get to go to the best game every weekend for free, get treated like a king, and all you have to do is wear an ugly sport jacket. That's it.
Well, only the Orange Bowl wears the ugly sports.
Well, no, the Fiesta Bowl one has that ugly, like light yellow.
Yeah, but it's the color of the Hall of Fame jackets.
The Rose Bowl has a red jacket.
Well, okay.
There's a few of them out there.
I was talking with somebody today about sort of do you go to 8? I think 8 teams is way too many. Way too many.
So you're not in favor of 12, then?
Oh, definitely. Well, look, if you're going to do it, go to 16. Just let's make this thing a true playoff.
Why not figure out a way to let the whole top 25 in? Do that.
You run it like the NFL playoffs. But here's the other one that I heard was a 16 playoff where the 1 and the 2 seeds get buys. Which does anybody want to face Alabama coming off an off week? No. Clemson off an off week? No, thank you. There's no easy way around this. Now, if you had parity in college football right now, okay, which you don't. I think that would be a little bit better. But having Clemson and Alabama sitting there and Ohio State and Oklahoma as sort of the underlings to those two, those 4 teams are going to be the last 4 teams most years. In most seasons, those will be the last 4 teams.
Yeah. So it is. It's all, and then you've got to. And I said this back during the bowl season when. Here's a way for the bowls to actually, stay in business, I think. Because sometimes, like if you're in the Texas Bowl and if you're the Kevin Kopps of football and your team's in the Texas Bowl, why would you play in that? It's an exhibition game for a cowboy hat. Well, whoop-de-hell.
Well,
so players are opting out of these games. What the bowl should do with all this cash that they have is pay players to show up for the exhibition games.
What expanding the playoff does is keep more teams engaged into November. If you've still got a chance to get into the playoff. Let me ask you, what was the problem with the BCS? More years than not, the BCS got the top 2 teams in the game, and we generally got a decent game.
Yep.
So what was the problem with the BCS? Problem was the group of 5. They wanted in on this. They're the ones that broke all this up. They're the ones that brought us the college. I mean, they sued the NCAA to get into this stuff. TCU and Boise State, they wanted to play for the national title. Let's be honest. Boise State, Alabama would be a total mismatch. Boise State, Colorado. Pick your group of 5. They're going to get hammered. You give Saban 6 weeks to get ready for you. I don't care who you are. You're going to get beat. No. The BCS, more often than not, got the game right, and generally gave us a really good game. The last BCS game was the Florida State-Auburn game. Came down to the end. Kelvin Benjamin catches the pass. Most of the games were really good. But because it was done by computers and because it was seen as, excluding the group of 5, that's why we lost it. Mm-hmm. Before that, the Bowl Coalition had the same thing. It was pick the top 2 teams. Who are the 2 best teams in the country? Go play somewhere.
Well, the BCS came along because to end this poll says one team's number 1. This poll says another team's number 1. And they didn't want to. We're not doing that anymore. We need one thing that tells us who number 1 is, and that's what the BCS did starting in 1998.
The BCS was fine. There was nothing wrong with the BCS.
But when you're talking about selling television time, that's one game.
Yeah.
If I give you playoff, that's 3 games you get to sell.
3 crap games.
And if you get 12 teams, what is that? 7 games or something like? Well, I don't know how it would work.
Were any of the playoff games this year competitive?
I don't.
No,
I don't remember any of the playoff games.
Notre Dame loses to Alabama,
except for I remember the only playoff game that stands out to me is the Georgia-Oklahoma Rose Bowl. And I don't even know if that was a playoff game.
That was a Rose Bowl.
It was? Okay.
Yeah, it was.
Well, it was because Georgia was there, obviously. Yeah,
but last year, you had the upset where Ohio State beat Clemson, but they beat them pretty good. And then the title game was a blowout. The year before that, you had the Clemson-Ohio State game down in the Fiesta Bowl. That was pretty good. That was Trevor Lawrence just taking over in the second half. But you don't get really good games every year. Most of the games are not competitive.
Yeah. See, my memories of the bowl season usually are, like, didn't Cincinnati win their bowl game in overtime this past year, I think, the Peach Bowl?
I'd have to go back and look, but I think that's right.
Okay, I remember that. And a few years ago, in a non-playoff, UCF beat LSU. And Auburn lost a Peach Bowl a few years. Like, those are the things I remember. I don't remember anything about the playoff games.
No.
But I remember those games. So they're trying to get those games into the playoff umbrella, I suppose. So you can offer up more dollars to sell them.
It's all about the money. They have no interest in giving you competitive games.
That's correct. Yes.
You want to watch Alabama-Cincinnati in the first round?
That's
1 o'clock.
That's why there was no doubt they were playing football in 2020. Because it was all about the money. If they didn't, all these athletic departments would have gone out of business. True. So they had to play. Television wasn't going to pay if they didn't play. So they had to put something on the air, regardless of how many fans were in the stand. So you knew they had to do it, and they did. This also happened because everybody's having this discussion about the spider tack in baseball. The
stuff we told you about like a month ago.
That's right. Now everybody's talking about it, and including Garrett Cole of the New York Yankees. Have you heard this? Has anyone heard this? This is. He was asked a yes or no question, but he didn't answer yes or no, and he made it worse. Listen to this.
Have you ever used spider tack while pitching?
I don't know. I don't know if I don't quite know how to answer that, to be honest. I mean, there are customs and practices that have been passed down from older players to younger players, from the last generation of players to this generation of players, and I think there are some things that are certainly out of bounds in that regard, and I've stood pretty firm in terms of that, in terms of the communication between our peers and whatnot. And I, again, like I mentioned earlier, there's, this is important to a lot of people that love the game, and this is including the players in this room, including fans, including teams. And so, if MLB wants to legislate some more stuff, that's a conversation that we can have, because ultimately we should all be pulling in the same direction on this.
Okay, we were looking for no. Is what we were looking for.
Okay, here's just a couple things, because I have not heard the whole thing. So just a question: is spider tack, which is the stuff they're putting on their fingers to increase spin rate on a baseball?
You can buy it on Amazon, by the way.
Is it outlawed by baseball?
Well, you're not allowed to put stuff on the ball.
That's not what I asked. Is it outlawed by? It's
not allowed to put anything on the ball.
He's not putting it on the baseball. It's on his fingers. It doesn't transfer to the baseball. So my question is it outlawed by baseball? Because if it isn't,
it's the Andro argument.
This is my Jack Ryan response to all of these. Jack Ryan in I think it was Clear and Present Danger said, give them nowhere to go. So if the stuff isn't outlawed, you say, yeah, I use it, and if baseball outlaws it, I won't.
Yeah.
Because the next question from the media is, there is no question. You just answered the question. What you just did was you sound like Mark Zuckerberg in front of Congress. Are you tracking people's info? Well, it's a real
customs and practices passed down from generations.
Yeah. I mean, that was
Eventually, the first thing he landed on after 9-10 seconds was, I don't know how to answer that. How about yes or no?
That was really bad.
It's a yes or no question. So your answer choices are yes or no. Right. I don't know how to answer that is not on the bubble, sir. You know what I mean?
Your wife comes home and you're looking at an adult website and you're like, she says, are you looking at that? That's going to make it worse.
Customs and practices passed down from generations.
Just say yes. Get on to the punishment.
Every man doing something they shouldn't be doing should use this approach from now until the end of time. I don't know how to answer that.
Also, and I don't want to function as Mr. Cole's his PR guy, but if you haven't been caught, the answer is no.
That's correct.
Deny till you die.
That's right.
Oh, man. That was painful.
That was so painful to listen to, wasn't it?
It was painful, man.
Well,
what? You know what?
I don't know.
What he should have said, honestly, if he wanted to have some fun with him, he just should have said, no, ... I use Bardol.
That's right. That's right. I got Crisco on my hip. That's right. Are they doing these? They were supposed to start doing these random checks of the pitcher. The umpire's going to go out there and frisk him And in between innings. Are they doing that? I haven't seen any games yet. I don't know.
And again, I go Baghdad. Remember Baghdad Bobby was Hussein's spokesman? The Americans are they're literally like a mile away.
You can see the tank behind them.
You can see the tank.
Oh, they're not here.
The Americans are not here. No, they're not here. He's holding a press conference. The Americans, they're not here. As a tank rolls by.
A tank with the red, white, and blue on the side drives by behind him. Yes.
That's what you do.
Wow.
Yeah, that was...
It was a yes or no question, man. Like, it's not that hard.
No, it's like I tell my kids, I'm like, just tell me yes, and then we'll deal with it.
That was something, man.
That was rough.
Customs and traditions passed down
customs
through the generations.
You know what? And again, I don't know what the Yankees structure is. I don't know who was sitting. I'm assuming that was some sort of a Zoom call. He needs his own personal Igor.
That's right.
Yes, I did. Yes,
that's right.
Sure did. Yeah.
No, nobody cheats here at the Yankees. No. That doesn't have what's happening there. And as someone pointed out, I think it was Jeff Passan pointed out, if the $300 million pitcher is doing it, they're all doing it.
Every single
one. The $200,000 pitcher sure as hell is too, because he doesn't want to lose his gig.
No.
So I mean, that's a non-denial. Like that's not. I don't even know what you do with that.
And to be honest, I'm sitting here looking at the Spider Tack stuff. It's $16.
Yeah, it's on Amazon, right?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. This is great publicity for them.
Yeah. Yes, of course. Yeah,
Little leaguers loading up the ball.
They have become because there's all different, like there's all kinds of tissue products, but what is the name? We call it Kleenex. Well, now there's probably a million different of these kinds of substances, but they're all going to be called the Spider Tack.
I mean,
they win.
They're going to know, like they're going to be known as like the cream or the clear.
That's right. Yeah, like there's a million different bandage makers, but they're all
called Band-Aids.
Band-Aids.
Right.
Exactly.
I'm wearing one now.
Spider Tack wins.
Right.
Because there's a boatload of these substances, but they're all, a $2 fine here. There's a bunch of different hot tubs, but there's only one jacuzzi, but they're all called jacuzzis. I mean, they are. There you go. Even those tubs in the hotel rooms are called jacuzzis, even though they're not.
$2 fine.
All right. I'll pay you
in Bitcoin.
Yeah, I'll pay you
Thanks.
in Ethereum. What's
Ethereum?
Oh,
yeah,
Ethereum.
Ecuador's now taking Bitcoin.
There you
Ecuador,
go.
El Salvador,
That's right.
one of them.
That's right.
This podcast has been presented by Bet Online.